Okay, so today, 4th grade, we're going to be learning how to solve a word problem using fractions and operations. Now, when we talk about fractions, we're talking about looking at a whole, and we're trying to find equal parts of that whole. So I'll demonstrate this by showing two different wholes. Now, when we divide it up, they have to be equal. So if I'm going to make a proper fraction, I'm going to make sure to divide this up, divide the whole up into equal pieces. So each piece is equal and they make up a whole. What a fraction doesn't look like are a bunch of pieces that aren't equal and that don't match up. The little pieces don't make up the whole and they're not equal. So let's look at our word problem. Our word problem says that Macy has 12 cookies and she ate 2/4 of them. How many cookies did she eat? Well, in this problem, 12 is our whole, 4 is the number of groups that we're looking for, and 2 are the parts of the group. So when we solve this with our set model, we have our whole is represented by a set of objects, which we're going to use our counters. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 objects that represent our whole group of 12. And we're going to try to divide these up into 4 equal groups. So, to do that, we're going to lay out a row of 4 counters. So we have our 4 groups already set up. And we're going to keep adding counters until we run out. So we keep adding counters to each row until we run out. And now we see we have 4 different rows. So now we're going to circle these just to kind of help define them a little bit better. So we have our one group right here, our next group right here, and our last group's right here. So now we see we have 12 different counters divided up into 4 equal groups, just like we did with our whole and our parts. To divide it up to make a proper fraction, each group has to be equal. So how are we going to represent 2/4 of our 12 counters? Well, we can do this by flipping over 2 groups of our 4 counters. This way, we can see that out of our 4 groups, we have 2 of those 4 groups that are different. So now we know that we have 12 counters, and we can count our pink counters to see what 2/4 of 12 would be. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, using our set model, we divided our whole, which was 12, into 4 different groups, and then we found our unit fraction of 2/4. So, now let's solve the same problem using our area model. Okay, so we're going to look at our same problem, but we're going to be doing area model. Now, when we look at area model, we look at our whole is represented by an area, and our parts are represented by pieces, equal pieces of that whole. So we know by looking at our set model of our problem that we had 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. And so we're going to divide, by looking at our set model, we know that each group of 4 had 3 equal pieces in it. So we're going to divide each group of the 4 into 3 separate and equal pieces. Notice how each piece fits perfectly and how it's equal. So now that we have our 4 wholes separated into 3 equal pieces, we need to find 2/4 of our 4 groups. Well, that's pretty easy. We can set aside 2 of our 4, and we can represent that by using our pink pieces to cover up in 3 equal pieces 2 of the 4 groups. So now, by doing this, we can find 2/4 of 12. We can do this by counting our pink pieces. When we count our pink pieces, we see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the 12 total equal pieces, meaning that 2/4 of 12 is 6.